The book I'm going to tell you about is The Last Bookstore on Earth, and it is a dystopian novel by Lily Braun Arnold. And it's interesting because basically it's this girl who's living and working in this bookshop. The world has fallen to pieces. Nothing looks as it used to, and there are many fewer people because of the death and the wipeout that occurred. And you will find out how they all got wiped out. It's not the main part of the story. The story really is about how she's living in the bookstore and what her life is like. She was living with a former coworker as well for a while in the bookstore, and they used books as currency. Can you imagine how wonderful that would be if books were currency? I love it. It encourages reading and an escapism from a world that is obviously quite miserable. So she has no family, and her friend left to go see what else was out there and said she'd come back, but she really had no intention of coming back. So the 17-year-old girl is living alone, running a bookstore, and she doesn't have to do a whole lot because people come in and trade her for things like food or batteries, the essentials that she needs to survive. And she's surviving on very little. There's an apartment upstairs that has been vacated for whatever reason. The person no longer is there, so she sleeps there. Because of what happened to make it a end of time story, the building's kind of falling apart in some places, and she knows she needs to fix it, but she has no idea how or what to do. And then one day she comes across this girl who basically changes her world and her outlook on things. But this girl's lived a rough life up until now. They're about the same age, but this girl is much more world smart, street smart, and probably a little world weary. So, like, the girl that was living there has pretty much had just a plain existence until this other girl shows up, and then everything changes. Even though it's dystopian, end of times, life is miserable, it is also technically a love story. So there's, some falling in love that happens, and there's some just battles of conscience and what is the right thing to do and what should you do in the end of times when there's no hope. How do you move forward in the world? So we get to see all that and a lot of action and more in this book, The Last Bookstore on Earth. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't like my favorite read. I just like dystopian novels, and I like to see every author's take on what the end of times would be like. Basically, this story held my interest, and it was entertaining, but it's not something I would read again. So take that for what it's worth. If you have read this story, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if you haven't, maybe you want to check it out. Regardless of what you choose to do, I hope you pick books that really interest you. Happy reading.